We have breaking news overnight. A ceasefire agreement is underway between Israel and Hamas. This weekend, President Trump is planning to head to the Middle East as Israel and Hamas agree to a peace deal and hostage release. NBC's Alice Barr is covering the news developments from Washington.
Smoke is fading over Gaza, relief rising for Palestinians and Israelis, as the Israeli military announced a long-sought ceasefire is now in effect, and its forces moving to new deployment lines within Gaza. Part of the first phase of a peace deal the Israeli government and Hamas both approved, and President Trump advanced.
I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace.
The president planning to travel to Egypt this weekend for a formal signing and the return of the remaining hostages, 20 believed to still be alive after 2 years in Hamas captivity.
They should be released on Monday or Tuesday. Getting them is a complicated process.
And there are even more complicated steps ahead, including a requirement for Hamas to disarm and leave power, still an open question.
They got to be written out of the future of Palestine.
Cautious optimism on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers in both parties gave credit to President Trump.
What we need is bipartisan support for the peace process, which will be fraught with obstacles, make no mistake.
The biggest challenge, how to bring Gaza back from the ruins and secure a peaceful future. President Trump adamant no one will be forced to leave and that neighboring nations will help rebuild.
We're going to create something where people can live. You can't live right now in Gaza.
The U.S. military preparing options to send as many as 200 troops to Israel to ensure stability and the flow of aid into Gaza, according to 2 U.S. officials familiar with the planning, who noted there will be no American boots on the ground in Gaza. As for how this deal came together, Secretary of State Marco Rubio pointed to some key turning points, including President Trump securing the backing of leaders of Muslim-majority nations at the UN General Assembly last month, getting Israel's prime minister to sign on in a White House visit, and delivering a final ultimatum to Hamas. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, many here in Northeast Ohio are watching the peace talks closely. Our Candace Hare has been following this for us, and she has reaction with how communities across Northeast Ohio are reacting. Candace?
Good morning, Danita. So the impact of this war, it's been felt far beyond the Middle East, including right here in Northeast Ohio. And we've heard from both the Palestinian and the Jewish communities when it comes to this. And what we've heard from them is that they're speaking out, they're sharing hope and grief and optimism. Many of the members of the Jewish community, they're really saying that the key point for them is the releasing of those hostages. They say that for them will be step one.
I think the biggest part of it is having the hostages home, because once the hostages come home, I think the people, the Jewish people, Israeli people, can start mourning the October 7th, 2023 massacre.
And for some Palestinians in Northeast Ohio, the news brings cautious optimism, but also calls for justice and rebuilding in Gaza.
Other things would be, withdrawal of all troops from Gaza, as well as the rebuilding of Gaza as well, and heavy machinery that would be able to implement that.
And Danita, both communities say they're holding on to hope that this ceasefire marks not just an end to the fighting, but a new beginning for peace and understanding.
All right, Candace here reporting from our newsroom this morning. Thank you.